Hello YouTube, this is Minister Paul in NorCal. I go by MP. The date is 1/29/19. I'd like to attempt to share some information that I've received by revelation on a subject I hardly know anything about. But the revelation I'm receiving on this is really strong and powerful. And I do believe if I'm given a moment of time here, your time, I will be able to have this make sense. So just please give me some time. Could you like this and share this somehow? YouTube has implemented a new policy now. This is an article from 3 or 4 days ago. Basically what YouTube has done is create a new algorithm in their software that was already really tight and stringent on conservative things, to where it's going to stop sharing or spreading. They're going to basically go after videos of this type, what they consider to be a conspiracy theory, and channels that promote them. So the only really way that someone like me who makes these type of videos will be able to continue on YouTube is if people like them and share them and post them in other places. So I wanted to put that out there. So let's get into the message. Almost 7 years ago, July will be 7 years ago, I had this dream. It was July 5th, 2012. And many may have heard this already, so I'm not going to go into great details on this. But basically, the dream I had was very prophetic, and I was asking God about what all these numbers mean I would see everywhere. 222, 333. I mentioned that on here, 444. And then God showed me two numbers. One was 3 and one was 7. And there was an angel standing next to them, and they were portals. And he said these numbers meant war. And these 3-7 numbers have followed me, myself, in this ministry, and many other people for, like I said, July will be 7 years this year, in unexplainable, and like that right there, just pop it up, 737, in unexplainable, amazing ways. And so I believe that I finally have the key to what this meant. The angel told me when I see 3 and 7 together that I'm to warn of war. It was never mentioned what type of war, and I think the culmination of this whole entire journey since then is now leading to space war. Some type of war in the space. Whether it be with, angels and demons, or whether it be with what I'm about to present you here. I do not know this information, but I'm a messenger, and I'm just going to put this information out there. How you feel led to receive it and what you feel led to do with it, that is completely up to you. I'm just going to give the message. So that was almost 7 years ago. Angel tells me about 3-7. When I see this, it's a sign time to warn of war. Now, so this has led me on a long journey, and along this journey I've just found out that there are these budgets that have been in our government for a long, long time that are called black budgets. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time expounding on all of these things I'm going to explain to you. I'm going to put links so you can go and research them for yourself. In other words, I'll give you a link to someone that's claiming these things, and then you can go verify and vet it for yourself. Okay, so this article is from the Washington Times, but you could literally just do a search on a government black budget. So I was researching these black budgets, and the reason why I was researching these is I was trying to somehow tie a black budget, in other words, a top secret money giving to organizations and nations and countries, etc., space like NASA, for example, money that's hidden, that we're never told about or we never see, that's actually in the budget, but it's a secret budget. It's money without any oversight that I believe is being used for the final war. And it's been around for a long time. Some of you may know this. Other people, maybe the first time you heard this. It was for me. It's called a black budget. And here's Trump with the CIA. Now, I want to bring you up to date on the the date of this article, I believe was so February 28, 2018, so approximately a year ago, not exactly. And it's talking about how the Trump administration has asked for $81.1 billion in funding for the secretive so-called black budget that bankrolls U.S. intelligence operations, constituting the largest request of its kind ever revealed. So Trump has requested $81.8 billion in money that cannot, well, just because he's our president. I don't think it's because he's Trump. I think it's just because he's the president right now. And I guess the CIA is involved in this. And so this happened. This is a real thing. You can go research black budgets, and you can research this request for this amount. A wise man once told me one time, when I was concerned about sharing information that might be considered classified, and they would come after me because I served in a lot of different classified areas and in the military, etc., and continuing when I got out. And that wise man was my dad. And what he told me is, he said, if you can find it on the internet, it's not classified. And I'm like, because he dealt in stuff that was considered black. The clearance was strictly above top secret. It was called black. That's what they called it. So that kind of led me on this journey down here to check out these black budgets, because what I believe is that some of this black budget money is being sent towards NASA and our military, the United States Air Force in particular. And don't you find it amazing that he's got this request for $81.8 billion, and yet, because I believe it was denied in July, but I don't know how, I mean, surely some of it was approved, but I believe in July of that same year of 2018 they denied it. That's kind of what I read as a follow-up, but that's neither here nor there. This has been going on for years and years and years and years. And don't you think it's interesting that the media is all focused on this southern border and a very firm amount of $5.7 billion, and such this huge fight not to give it to them? But what about this $81 billion with no oversight? Now, this goes to governments. This doesn't go directly to the president. It goes to government officials. Matter of fact, it comes through the U.S. DOD and U.S. Special Operations Commands and Naval Intelligence and the Pentagon and stuff like this. With the less a president knows about this, actually, the better, because it gives him something called plausible deniability. And so this is called the NIP budget here, National Intelligence. So now let's go further on this, because I was wondering, well, where does all this money go? So let's take a journey. And then I was shown this Boeing X-37. Now, you know how I was led to this? This is actually a mini space shuttle, they call it, called X-37B. There's two of them, A and B. There's one flying over us right now in space somewhere. Hasn't landed yet. They can go up for like 2 years. And so, and what keyed me on this was Boeing, because I just read an article this morning that Boeing just gave President Obama $10 million towards his library in Chicago. That's a whole nother subject that I will touch on. But for this video, it led me to start checking out Boeing, and I saw this X-37 orbital test vehicle. Now I want to just show you some facts here listed. It's under the Department of Defense, because what I believe is, at the time, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, please do. At the time I was shown the number 37 in a war on July 5th, 2012, I'm fully convinced this was still classified. In other words, there would be no way in July 5th, 2012, I could be dreaming about a 37 meaning war, and then almost 7 years later, almost all of it's still classified, by the way, but like I said, if you can find it on the internet, that part you can find is not considered classified. How amazing this is. And I just want to show you some things that are interesting to me about this. Boeing's involved. The first flight was on April 7th. Now, it was introduced in 22nd April 2010, but now I believe it was classified in 2010. In other words, we weren't told about it. the Department of Defense and the United States the United States Air Force, apologies, they actually handed this over to NASA and DARPA. DARPA is Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. In other words, it's used by the military. High, top secret technology used by the military. And the fact that April keeps popping up and April keeps popping up, what's this C? X37C. I believe there's only two. Let me do it. I'm just going to put this in here for you to check. I don't believe there is a C. Oh, this is one that was going to transport 6 astronauts because these are uncrewed. I'm not sure where this stands right now. Anybody? Where they can actually man these people with astronauts? So what I did was I researched black budgets. I believe that our military and some agencies like this, Lockheed Martin and Boeing, use places like this, Kennedy Space Center, and this will continue to come up and again, and Cape Canaveral, right here. Things that I've been talking about for about 3 weeks now, all of a sudden just popping up with the number 37. You with me? I mean, I'm taking this very seriously. I actually have concerns over some of the information in this video I'm going to put out, but I'm not going to focus on that. It's the numbers, it's the players involved, the fact that it's all being done in secret, and that it has the two numbers out of all the numbers in the world, 37, that I was warned about while it was classified, that I believe this is heading up to a space war. Now, let's see this. What do we know about the mysterious Air Force space plane that just landed after a top secret 2-year mission? Again, I believe there's been 5, get this, the number 5 again, 5 fully completed missions by this, and this particular one was in 2017. No one really knows much about this at all. But this particular one they're talking about landed at the Kennedy Space Center after a 718-day orbit during its first landing in Florida. These are all keywords that are really going to trigger you to understand, man, we are on to something here. The first X-37 program started in 1999. Again, no one knew about it because it was classified. And what else don't we know about that's classified? And, you know, that's tax dollars that they're calling, you know, secret budget and black budget and all this stuff. They're doing that with our money. You understand? You know, I'm really telling you, I'm a minister, and I serve God, and I share God. And so I'll just tell you what God told me regarding this is He does not want anybody asleep to this. God's will would be that by watching this video and this information and sharing it, that we would all start doing our research and wake up. It is not God's will that we're asleep. It is His will that we're awake to these facts. That secrecy behind military defense, it is all being warned about through God's messengers, and that at the rate of prophecy fulfillment we're going through, look to Israel for these things now, because it's looking like war over there. Israel just ran the largest campaign against Syria they have ever in history to date. They just ran that. And Russia's involved, and Syria's involved, and then China wants to get involved in all this. At the rate of prophecy fulfillment, over a period of 7 years, prophecy now coming to pass in the body of Christ, and revelations coming forward on the daily, then we cannot, this is what I want to tell you, we cannot continue to be here. They will not allow it. And they doing things in secret. And we're exposing those secrets. They cannot continue to allow us a platform to expose all their secrets, because they're doing it with our money in secret with no oversight. Think about it. So I wanted to show some of this. There's a picture of it. Apparently, from what I understand, there's 2 of them. An A and a B. So if you go and research right now, and any search engine you want anywhere, this is Air and Space magazine, you're going to find out no one really knows what they're doing up there. Okay? The fact that it's 3-7 is enough for me to know to warn that I believe that there's some type of space war thing coming. And I don't believe they want us here for that. So let me just say this as I continue on in this video. It's any person with any type of reasonable intelligence would ask themselves, why in the world would elites with unlimited funds done in secret, why would they want to blow up their big castle here that they call, the United States? Why? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Because they know what the Bible says about the USA being destroyed. And they see all these laws passed, and they see all this violence occurring, and they see all these earthquakes. And what God told me, I'll tell you what God told me. You don't have to believe this at all. He said, because they know that the USA is going to be destroyed. And they worship false demonic gods in space. Based on, Roman and Greek gods and all those teams. People at the highest levels of government actually worship those type of false gods, and they believe that their destination is space. So to them, it's like a reward to destroy the USA and get up there. I mean, it makes fully sense when you're awake to see this, because they know God's going to do it anyway. Why shouldn't we just speed it up and try to get ahead of God? And then they think they're hearing from these fake gods. It all makes perfect sense, but the odds of it being this number, YouTube. A number I've been talking about, I actually checked to see how many videos I've made on this two numbers, 3-7 right here. It's dozens of videos. I mean, even look at this link right here. It's all 7s. There's 3 7s right there. I mean, it's just the way these things happen. Some believe it, some don't. But if you go and read through here, you're going to find out that not much of anything is known about this thing. But one thing I will tell you is that the U.S. Air Force is involved, Cape Canaveral, Florida is involved, Vandenberg Air Force Base is involved, and NASA is involved. And so nothing good can come from this. Nothing good. This thing is what they're planning on it to get it to be able to fly in low Earth orbit. You can read all about this thing. That's not the point of this video. The point of this video is this thing's flying above us right now. I believe it's doing final preparations for some type of space war. I believe that this thing can actually take out the enemy's satellites. I'm telling you the truth. I believe that this is funded by a top secret black budget. And I believe that this was shown to me on July 5th, 2012 by an angel. I fully believe that. And so what if I told you, well, I found a foundation that actually supports my theory on this? This foundation is called the Secure World Foundation, otherwise known as SWF. Some of you may be hearing this stuff for the first time, but I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to allow them to have cookies on my computer and stuff. What they are doing is coming up with space laws and space policies. And Trump is involved in this, whether you want to admit it or not. He is involved in this, big time. And you know who else is? Well, surprise, surprise, it's the United Nations. And what I believe these agencies are trying to do is they want to be this space Secure World Foundation and NASA and the European Space Agency and these elites and governments and powerful people and all that. They want to become the United Nations of space. They believe their future is living in space. And I'm telling you, they deceived. Because God's going to destroy the heavens and the earth. And there's going to be a new heaven and a new earth. That's what the Bible says, and I'm going to believe that. But what they want to do is they have to put some stuff out here. So you have this agency. I mean, this should really wake up everybody. They're promoting a secure world in space by creating space laws and space policies. And not only that this treaty on outer space goes all the way back to 1967. In other words, this ain't nothing new. And you know what they want to do? providing for national security. So they brought in the CIA, DARPA programs, and they brought in stuff like this, and they can get the money secretly, no matter who's president. And if something blows up or goes wrong, well, they can use that too as a write-off on their budget. I mean, it's absolutely sickening when you're fully awake. So I'll put a link to this, and you can check it out. I've checked out this whole entire website. They have 2 offices, one in Broomfield, Colorado, and one in Washington, D.C. Just those 2 offices right here. I'll show you. Moving on here. So here's the Broomfield, Colorado office and Washington, D.C. office. This stuff is pretty evil. So then I considered to keep continuing and looking into this area, and I was led to the JPL because I have been shown many, many warnings that have come to pass, and it's because I'm a servant of God. That's the only reason. That's the only reason. It's because I serve God with a true heart. There's many people, many messengers of God, and they will not be silenced. I was led to research this NASA because clearly this is an evil thing. Would you at least agree to me on that? This is not a good thing. It's an evil thing. They're planning our demise, and then they all just run off into space. That's the truth. I mean, everybody, please wake up on this. This is very serious. They have billions and billions of dollars in funding this. They have entire military at their disposal. I mean, think about it. But they want us all focusing on $5 billion and shutting down the government and all this stuff, and declaring a national state of emergency over $5 billion. I mean, I'm awake. That's all I'm going to say. So I was led to research NASA's involvement in the occult. And so now, coming out of Space Safety Magazine, as everybody see this, spacesafetymagazine.com, aerospace engineering, I was led to Jack Parson, and he's explaining this article is explaining the occult roots of JPL. And so now I want to take you and I want to look at JPL. Okay, it's a jet propulsion laboratory. So when I mentioned these warnings and everything, I know that California is in danger of something serious and major happening. Now I've said this over Florida, and I don't want to take 5 minutes of your time, but Texas, Florida, and the fact that these prophecies are all just rapidly fulfilling on the daily, then California's in trouble, and New York's in trouble, and Florida's in trouble. Let God be true and every man be a liar is my message. NASA is involved in the occult. And this JPL, Jack Parsons, the co-founder of Jet Propulsion Laboratories, this Jack Parson, and it talks about the occult. And what was that about the occult? This occult involvement with NASA has never stopped and never died. Even look at this symbol right here. Space Generational Advisory Council. They're up to something, and it mentions the space shuttles. I mean, so let's come full circle now. What's the problem with this article? Where's all this heading? Well, a major event in California. So I went and looked up the NASA involvement in the cult, and they are. And I was led to this article on jet propulsion laboratories, and I Google Earthed them. That's what I do. All right. So now let's come full circle on this. I want to show you. This is Interstate 5, and it runs the length of the entire state. And here's LA. Can everybody see this right here? Here's LA. And here's Anaheim. In that same year, August of 2012, I had a vision that completely fulfilled. It was fires and floods while I was driving down this, and we've been hit with more fires than I've ever seen here in NorCal, and floods, the side of the state. But so that was another 5. If you're wondering why I keep mentioning 5, go back and watch a couple videos. Now I want to zoom in on this 4800 Oak Grove Drive, right off here off of 5, that I would have had to drive by to go up to that prophetic conference in Anaheim up here. And I want to zoom in and I want to show you this JPL complex. I mean, it's like a military complex. In closing, I want to show you this because something is planned. There's going to be some type of... They're doing stuff. I believe I've proven by now that they have unlimited money, your money, to secret money that they don't have to give an account for or have oversight for, to send things all the way up in space and who knows, and underground. I'll tell you, they're also underground. They're planning the destruction of the USA. Here, look at the zip code right here, 91011. 91011, like 9/11. You just can't make this stuff up. But I want to expound on this JPL that I was led to, and its heavy involvement in the cult. If you come down here, now watch this. This whole area is JPL. This whole area it's run by Caltech, but really it's just another secret part of NASA. Do you understand? That just like Florida and the military is involved, especially the U.S. Air Force, and they're heavily funded, and they're planning the demise of the United States of America. You don't have to believe me. Look at this little security checkpoint here. I find it interesting. Has anybody ever been on here? Clearly, they have a lot of security checkpoints. I mean, literally, if you zoom in close enough, you'll see there's like some type of police or security vehicle here with a light bar across the top. So, and even to get anywhere in here, you have to go through these checkpoints. And then look at the shape of it. You come over here, look at all the parking they have. This is just all parking for all of this. Now, not just this little one building right here is JPL. I mean, you could come way over here on this complex and find JPL things. I'll just show you. More parking, more parking. And so just ask yourself, why is everything being kept from us, and are we the targets? Why all of a sudden is all this suddenly making sense to certain people? And then all of a sudden, what about the timing as we expose all this stuff and their plan to destroy the United States? Why all of a sudden is YouTube, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, why all of a sudden is YouTube announcing this, we're going to stop conspiracy videos? I mean, this occult thing, the occult's on the rise like never before. Do you think this is all just some big coincidence? You know what I mean? YouTube to tweak its runaway recommendations engine that can't stop serving up conspiracy theory of videos like this is because they don't want you to know the truth. And I believe this is one of the most important videos I've ever made, that there's coming a space war. There's going to be some type of event. Listen to me. There's going to be some type of event in space. And when this war breaks off, this thing flying around out here on our money and all that, it's going to begin attacking satellites. And the power's going to go down. The grid's going to go down. It's going to be a huge war, a big war from space all the way to Earth. And we are that close to this, that this thing is flying above us by some government with unlimited secret, no oversight funds that's known to be involved in the occult. And the same numbers that I was shown in a dream in July 5th, 2012, why it was still classified, that this is all coming to a head. They cannot allow people like me to come on here and continue to expose this stuff. So ask yourself, in the month of April, this is one of the biggest occult months I know of other than October. 4/19, Oklahoma federal bombing, the Muir building, all that. 4/20, all of these days. I mean, just look at here. If you see something, they say if you see something, say something. Look, if you see something in here that can help all of us down here that are serving God and just doing our job, exposing these people, then please put it in the comments. Please like and share this. They're not going to like this video, and I'm telling you what, I'm just getting started. I'm just getting started. So it says right here it's 177 acres. Federally funded. NASA Field Center, California. 9/11. That's interesting that the zip code's different here. 91109. Wait a minute. I just think I just caught something. 9/11 zip code. Let me go back to Google Earth. That's interesting. Why did it give a different zip? Well, it's just more secrets. Amen. You know, I'm not finished. I'm just asking you to help me share these messages and get this out and tell others about it. I'm just trying to wake people up, is all I'm doing. They are plotting our doom with our money. How pathetic. And yet there's a way out. And his name is Jesus Christ. And I'm telling you, if we can't trust Trump, I mean, who can we trust as far as the United States being destroyed? You could trust Jesus. That's who.